Hey everyone, I'm Travis, and in this video you're going to see me rebuild that steering column and connect it to this Crown Vic front end. Enjoy. Okay, so starting off with the stock tubes here, I got a little ahead of myself. I started building before I started filming, and the only thing we missed here, the only thing that I changed was I actually moved that mount up 1.5 inches, which is a real simple way to give yourself more leg room and kind of more cab space. It was a really simple, easy way to do it. I highly recommend that. Moving on to the rag joints down at the bottom, this swing you have to pull off. It's not super easy to come off. You do have to cut it and grind it and kind of break it apart. You got to be very careful not to cut into the shaft or the splines, things like that. You want to protect those splines, so it's a bit of a patience game kind of thing, but I'm sure you can handle it. Here are the parts that I bought for it. I got the wheel from CJ Pony Parts, just kind of their house brand, but it's still real nice, and it's quite impressed with it, the billet hub and everything, and it was a good deal too. So here's our bearing for the bottom portion of that. We'll show that more in a little bit, and then the U-joints that worked on both ends. I'll link all this stuff somewhere attached to this video so that you guys can see it or find it, or tell me I'm wrong, I don't know. But with those, and then the collapsible steering shaft as well. I got a good one from Borgson. That's really good. If you get in a wreck or something like that, this thing will collapse into itself instead of it coming through your rib cage. So that's a bit of a pro right there. And then here's our bearing. So our bearing goes into the bottom of the steering column or the steering tube, whatever you want to call it. And that's where their old bearings, their old roller 1960s bearings sat, and they're quite worn out in pretty much every column you've ever seen. So to get that out, I just drilled out the spot welds and then ground it down a little bit. Just ground it enough so that it was weak, and then a little persuading with the hammer and punch, I was able to pull that thing out. From there I went and kind of polished it and filled the holes. I think you probably could have just cut this tube at whatever length you wanted and avoided all that stuff, but I decided to kind of go with a longer tube. I figured longer the tube, the more secure the shaft would be, more stable it would be. So then moving on to installing the bearing, I just indexed or marked the holes where they were going to be, and then transferred that line to the tube. Kind of simple as that. Just find your marks and then work your way down. For the depth of it, I just found to the outside edge to the center of the hole, took that measurement and transferred it down my tube lines, drilled some holes. That was it. There's a little bit of leeway there. You can kind of open up the hole a little bit to make your life a little bit easier, but fairly straightforward. Here's the Crown Vic side of things. That's the Ford V pattern that you'll see in descriptions. It works out really nice because then you can change the rack, and it's a real simple install. It's nothing truck specific, or you're not married to anything. It's just a simple in and out if you need to do that. And then I got my U-joints installed and kind of measured out my shaft. There's tons of videos about kind of how long they should be and stuff like that, but you can use your discretion on that. And then install the shaft. So I got to cut, again, Borgson gives you instructions on kind of how long to do it with the collapsible shaft, which side, and yada yada yada. Read the instructions and you'll figure it out. Made some dimples. They'll tell you how to do that too. Listen to the pros on this. You know, it's pretty simple stuff, but it's always good if somebody smarter than you is telling you what to do. And then a flat spot on the splines. I didn't want to take out too much meat with a dimple or anything like that, so I just made a simple flat spot with a file and kind of just simple hand tools. And then here are the restored parts, or the stock parts, that hopefully you have laying around or with your truck or whatever. So else you're gonna have to go source them out and stuff, because that made the install really simple and clean. Looks kind of stock, but it's obviously kind of custom and kind of restored. So wheel went on nicely. That stuff goes together really smooth too. It's sometimes it's better just to buy the right stuff instead of trying to jerry rig something or other. So spend the money and kind of got the right one that I wanted. And then once our wheel was installed, well, what do you do with the wheel? You turn it, and there it goes. Turn. So really smooth way to do this. When I went and built those headers, I left room for it to make my life really easy down the line, and I'm pretty happy I did. So hope this helps somebody. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you at the next one.